Hey everyone, today I am working on a riding mower and basically I'm using this as a learning experience for repairing riding mower engines. Usually I'm used to just push mower engines. I've done many push mower engines over the years, and riding mowers are just a larger version of that. Sometimes they have multiple cylinders. This one is a single cylinder, but it does have an overhead valve, and I'm not as familiar with those. So again, I got this mower off the side of the road, and it's definitely had some issues. So I had to start off by buying a battery, because it had no battery when I got it. So put that in. When I hooked up the new battery, it immediately blew the fuse. Actually, the fuse was already blown. I put a new fuse in and it immediately blew it. I did some tracing and found out that someone had flipped this connector around. So I fixed that, and that stopped the fuse from blowing. But the engine still wouldn't turn over. I found out that the starter was bad. It was locked up and the brushes were completely destroyed. It was not worth fixing. I just swapped out a different starter. And then I took the cover off and found out that there had been a mouse nest in there prior, and a mouse had chewed on the ignition wire, so I replaced the ignition module. After all that, it still wouldn't start, and I found out it had a bad valve seat. And let me bring you over here. Looking at the old head. That seat had popped out, and what I had done is you can tap it back into place, and you can use a punch to go around the edge to punch it back, and that in theory should hold it in place. It's not the best repair, but it is a inexpensive repair that may get you by. So I was decided I'm just going to get a new head. They're cheap, used, so it's like 35 bucks for another head. And I put it on. So this is where some of the fun began. So I looked up the specs for, this is where I want you to learn from my mistakes. I looked up the specs for this engine, and here's the specs, and you'll see the head bolt torque is 220. I just read pounds, and I assumed foot-pounds. So I was like, man, that seems like a lot, but okay. And I didn't actually have a torque wrench. I'm trying to get more official. In the past, I've taken heads off and I've just tightened them as much as I thought. So I went out and bought myself a new torque wrench. And you can't even see that. Here we go. It's a Craftsman. It was on sale at Lowe's for, I think it was $65, regularly $100. It's the cheapest one I could find that did up to 250 foot-pounds. So I'm tightening the bolts in a specified bolt pattern on the sheet, and I got to a point where I'm like, man, these seem like they're getting awful tight, and this is an aluminum head. If I crank down too much harder on these, I'm worried I'm gonna strip out the threads. And just as I was having that thought, I snapped a bolt. It is the number 6 bolt here. So I was like, well, shoot. That's when I looked at this and realized this is 220 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. So that equates to something like 18 foot-pounds. So I was like, okay, great. I would have to take the head off and drill out that bolt. But based on the position, I think it may be okay if I just leave it. Again, not ideal, but this is a learning experience. We're going to see what happens. So I got the engine top dead center. I adjusted the valves and tried to start it, and it won't start. It keeps locking up the engine on the compression stroke. And I'm like, well, that's not ideal. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? I don't think I did anything wrong. So I looked up the specs, and there is a trick to these overhead valve engines where, in order to adjust the valve clearance, you get the engine at top dead center, which is where I had it when I originally adjusted the valves. So that's top dead center. You stick a little screwdriver in the spark plug hole, and then you turn it about 1/4 inch. So basically, I just went from where it was top dead center in 1/4 inch. And then I got my feeler gauges and I adjusted it. So the bottom one is the intake. It should be 0.004. And the top one is the exhaust, which should be 0.006. And I think I have these adjusted appropriately now. Also, when I was checking it, a lot of people online said make sure your compression release is working. And you'll see the intake bump. So now the exhaust valve is opening. Exhaust valve is closing. Intake is opening. It's closing. And there's a little bump. I don't know if you can see that on camera. It's just really slight bump. So yeah, that's the stroke where it's closing and it's bumping just a little bit. So in theory, I have everything adjusted properly now. So let's bolt all this back together and see if it actually works. I kind of wish I could turn it over with having the cover off, but if you do that, oil will squirt out everywhere. Ask me how I know. Could put a compression tester in here, but I think I'm just going to put the spark plug in and try sending it. not expecting this to start, but I'm hoping that it at least turns over now. Let's give it a try. Ah, success. All right, I'm gonna grab some starting fluid and we'll see if this pops off. All right, carburetor's off. I'm just gonna try some starting fluid in the intake. All right, it fires. So we're dripping water out of the muffler, and that's some nasty looking water. Let me move stuff out of the way before it starts dripping down my driveway. Water dripping out. All right, so successful learning, and the engine seems like it's going to run. I'm going to clean the carburetor and see if I can get it to run consistently. So I thought I'd do a quick update just to show you that it's all up and running. I got the cover back on and put new tires on it. I had freed up the mower deck belt engagement that was kind of frozen. And let me start this up. I don't have the pedal depressed enough. So there we go. All I gotta do now is put the top back on, hood back on. So thanks for watching, everyone.